A forest is an area of land dominated by trees, a complex and rich ecosystem, offering many habitats for many species and populations of animals, plants, fungi and microbials, most of which maintain interdependent relationships. A forest is made up of many layers. The main layers of all forest types are: forest floor, contains decomposing leaves, animal droppings, and dead trees. Decay on the forest floor forms new soil and provides nutrients to the plants. This layer supports ferns, grasses, mushroom, and tree seedlings. Understory is made up of bushes, shrubs, and young trees that are adapted to living in the shade of the canopy. Canopy is formed by the massive intertwined branches, twigs, and leaves of mature trees. The crowns of the dominant trees receive most of the sunlight. This is the most productive part of the trees, where maximum food is produced. The canopy forms a shady protective umbrella over the rest of the forest. Emergent layer exists in a tropical rainforest and is composed of a few scattered trees that tower over the canopy. From the deepest taproot to the top of the canopy, forests unfold an exceptionally large ecosystem and expose a vast biotic surface. Millions of species of flora and fauna live inside it. Forests provide timber that is used for a myriad of wood and paper products, protect the soils from erosion, minimize sedimentation in adjacent wetlands and aquatic ecosystems, mitigate flooding, and remove toxic heavy metals and organic. Also provide recreational opportunities and have inherent aesthetic value to society. Lastly, forests play an important role in global carbon budget. The first known forests on Earth arose in the late Devonian age, with the evolution of Archaeopteris, which was a plant that was both tree-like and fern-like, growing to 10 meters in height. An international research team has discovered upright stumps of fossilized tree rooted and still in life position in the 1870s from Gilboa, New York, and later named Eospermatopteris, are widely cited as evidence of the Earth's oldest forest. Apparently, the term was first used in English to indicate uncultivated land of a variety of vegetation types, including grasslands, which were claimed by royalty. In 7th century, Frankish kings claimed rights to forestus, uncultivated hunting and swine foraging areas with no clear owner. This interpretation is based on forestus being derived from the Latin forus, which can mean outside the settlement. In England, forest traditionally meant a place with deer. When William the Conqueror of Normandy invaded in 1066, he built on this concept with his forest law, which proclaimed his sovereign rights to all wild animals, particularly deer. From such royal attempts at criminalizing traditional uses and securing dominion over uncultivated lands, spring the tales of Robin Hood of Sherwood Forest, the War of the Demoiselles over forest access in 19th century France, the sultanization and then federalization of Girondic forests, and ongoing struggles over land use rights in many developing countries in the tropics. As such, the uses of the term forest throughout history have continued to evolve. In its broadest sense, a forest is an area covered by trees. Actually, forests are viewed, defined, assessed, and valued through different vantage points. In 2002, a study was launched, a worldwide survey of published definitions of 3 terms from societal, international, and legal perspectives. While the results were enormous, there are literally hundreds of definitions of the term forest in use throughout the world. A forest may be an administrative unit, a type of land use, or a type of land cover. Administrative definitions are based primarily upon the legal designations of land, regardless of their current vegetation. Within this construct, a legally designated forest can actually be devoid of trees, at least temporarily. From the land cover perspective, forests are viewed as ecosystems or vegetation types supporting unique assemblages of plants and animals. Whereas land use is the purpose to which land is put by humans. No single operational forest definition can, or should, embody all of these dimensions. A good definition of forest should include some thresholds, and specify whether these conditions are present now or should obtain when the stand is at maturity. Such threshold values are especially important for working definitions, that would allow people in the field to immediately identify what class of land they are in. Many of national and international definitions do in fact include thresholds. Among them, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, which defines a forest as land spanning more than 0.5 hectares with trees higher than 5 meters and a canopy cover of more than 10%, or trees able to reach these thresholds in situ. It does not include land that is predominantly under agricultural or urban land use. The question is, are these thresholds sufficient to reach a comprehensive and unified definition of the forest? Is it applicable all over the world? Do the definitions provided by international organizations achieve a clear vision of forests? The danger of overly simple definitions is that they can obscure substantial losses in what most people value as forest. In the Philippines, forests do not legally occur on slopes more than 18%. In Spain, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, an area is not forested if it produces less than 1 cubic meter hectare per year of timber, whereas in Ireland, the minimum production for forest is 4 cubic meters hectare per year. Use of different definitions leads to vastly different estimates of national and global forest cover and observed rates of forest gain and loss. For example, the estimate of global forest area increased by 300 million hectare between 1990 and 2000 simply because the FRA changed its global definition of forest, reducing the minimum height from 7 to 5 meters, reducing the minimum area from 1 to half a hectare and reducing minimum crown cover from 20 to 10%. In Australia, where trees often occur in open vegetation formations, this reclassification led to the acquisition of an additional 118 million hectare of forest. There is a clear need for widely accepted definitions of forest because it controls by definition the scope of forest science. Forest concepts and definitions influence how we assess and interpret forest transitions, deforestation, degradation, and reforestation. The distribution of the major forest biomes, and terrestrial biomes in general, is strongly influenced by climatic, geologic, ecological, and anthropogenic factors. There are many vegetation classification systems used, although all of them use climate and physiognomy to classify vegetation. There are broadly 3 major types of forests: tropical, temperate, and boreal forests. The boreal forest or taiga forms a circumpolar forest belt in the northern hemisphere, and as such it is one of the world's largest forested areas, and a major carbon reservoir. The greatest single area of boreal forests is in Eurasia, where they extend from Scandinavia to eastern Siberia. Despite a relatively low diversity of woody plants and are generally evergreen and coniferous. Tropical forests are one of the most prominent terrestrial biomes on Earth, occur roughly within the area bounded by the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. About 23 to 35 degrees north and south of these latitudes are regions similar in climate and vegetation type and form, commonly referred to as subtropical. The nature of tropical forest in any given area is affected by a number of factors. There are 3 main tropical forest habitat types, grouping together tropical and subtropical areas. Tropical and subtropical moist broadleaf forests. Tropical and subtropical dry broadleaf forests. Tropical and subtropical coniferous forests. Temperate forests are those found in the moderate climates between the tropics and boreal regions. They cover both hemispheres at latitudes ranging from 25 to 50 degrees. The temperate forests are globally important and unique. They host the largest and oldest organisms in the world. The world has a total forest area of 4.06 billion hectares, which is 31% of the total land area. This area is equivalent to 0.52 hectares per person. They are not equally distributed around the globe. The largest part of the forest is found in the tropical domain, followed by the boreal, temperate and subtropical domains. More than half of the world's forests are found in only 5 countries. Almost half the forest area is relatively intact, while 9% is found in fragments with little or no connectivity. Roughly 80% of the world's forest area is found in patches larger than 1 million hectares. The remaining 20% is located in more than 34 million patches across the world, the vast majority less than 1,000 hectares in size. The world has lost 178 million hectares of forest since 1990, which is an area about the size of Libya. The rate of net forest loss declined from 7.8 million hectares per year in the decade 1990 to 2000, to 5.2 million hectares per year in 2000 to 2010, and 4.7 million hectares per year in 2010 to 2020. The rate of net forest loss has increased in Africa in each of the 3 decades since 1990. Asia had the highest net gain of forest area in 2010 to 2020, followed by Oceania and Europe. 93% of the forest area worldwide is composed of naturally regenerating forests, and 7% is planted. About 10% of the world's forests is allocated for biodiversity conservation. Forests provide habitats for 80% of amphibian species, 75% of bird species, and 68% of mammal species. Forests provide more than 86 million green jobs and support the livelihoods of many more people. Some 252 million people living in forests and savannas have incomes of less than $1.25 per day. More than 28,000 plant species are currently recorded as being of medicinal use, and many of them are found in forest ecosystems. Visits to forest environments can have positive impacts on human physical and mental health, and many people have a deep spiritual relationship to forests. The majority of new infectious diseases affecting humans, including the SARS-CoV-2 virus that caused the current COVID-19 pandemic, are zoonotic, and their emergence may be linked to habitat loss due to forest area change and the expansion of human populations into forest areas, which both increase human exposure to wildlife. The area of forest under management plans is increasing in all regions globally. It has increased by 233 million hectares since 2000, reaching 2.05 billion hectare in 2020. Globally, about 1.15 billion hectare of forest is managed primarily for the production of wood and non-wood forest products. Most forest carbon is found in the living biomass and soil organic matter, with the remainder in dead wood and litter. The total carbon stock in forests decreased from 668 gigatons in 1990 to 662 gigatons in 2020. Carbon density increased slightly over the same period, from 159 tons to 163 tons per hectare.